Madame Blavatsky, or HPB as she preferred to be known, is often remembered as author of The Secret Doctrine, which today the Theosophical Society describes as a book that outlines a vast scheme of evolution relating to the universe and to humanity, and to the unseen as well as the seen worlds of manifestation in which life is said to exist in thousands of forms. In HPB's case, the intermediary emissaries were known as the Mahatmas, or Masters of Wisdom. Often in reading about history's paranormal people, one finds that repeatedly witnessing strange phenomena manifesting in their presence may inspire them to hypothesize that they are somehow endowed with some exceptional psychic power or mental capacity, as did HPV. In comparison, due to the chronology and variety of my own experiences of similar events, I always knew such circumstances around me had nothing to do with any conscious goal or inexplicable power or ability of my own. Personally, I have attempted to be completely candid in reporting my spiritual evolution, and there are records of the lives of other paranormal people where it would seem erudite, plain-spoken testimonials have been preserved concerning events that altered estimations about what could happen in the customary day-to-day reality. One memoir of HPB was left by a companion in her later life, Countess Constance Wachtmeister. In her book, Reminiscences of H.P. Blavatsky and the Secret Doctrine, the Countess observed, and I quote, "Frequent mention has been made here of HPB's master, and I think that it will be interesting to some of my readers to hear how she first became acquainted with her teacher. During her childhood, she had often seen near her an astral form that always seemed to appear in any moment of danger and save her just at the critical point. HPB had learned to look upon this astral form as a guardian angel and felt that she was under his care and guidance." End quote. Another case that I consider in wholly weird is the Elizabethan age's Dr. John Dee. It seems a bit miraculous that so many of the spiritual diaries that he recorded have survived to the present. His autobiographical writings of his paranormal experiences suggest what life was like in Europe more than 4 centuries ago for one who reported interaction with spiritual creatures and good angels. He described the visions of his scryers, as mediums were called at that time, as they told him what they saw and heard while gazing into a crystal globe. There were also occasions when Dee chronicled other forms of supernatural interaction. Where visions in a crystal ball are concerned, consider this predicament as a Renaissance equivalent of the movies for the scryer, with spiritual creatures, angels, and other distinctly human emissaries seen in different settings along with assorted objects, letters, and numbers visible in reflective surfaces, usually with symbolic or metaphorical significance. The scenes also show attributes reminiscent of dreams. The visions are described as featuring diverse attire, animals, furniture, transformations, swords, fire, trumpets, jewelry, beams of light, celestial sights, plants, smoke, gold, water, you name it. They even referred to his encounters with spirits as actions, reminiscent of that famous Hollywood expression, lights, camera, action. As I acquainted myself with Dee's transcripts of his conferences with spirits, I was again reminded how mysteries of human individuality, inspiration, and achievement find ultimate solutions in the perception of God as organizing superconsciousness, and our brains as receivers and transmitters for diverse sources of thought. Our individual personality becomes the result of feelings and decisions arising from those thoughts that one chooses to act upon. In this light, the spiritual evolution of human civilization can be understood as involving individuals honestly sharing their experiences or innovative insights into some particular avenue of human experience and knowledge. While researching Dee, I discovered that one Dee biographer, Benjamin Woolley, wrote about Queen Elizabeth being an enthusiastic practitioner of the royal touch. Quote, according to this rite, which had origins reaching back at least to the reign of Henry II, a monarch would touch the neck of a sufferer of epilepsy or scrofula, a painful and disfiguring inflammation of the lymph glands that would thereby be cured. End quote. The royal touch phenomenon was researched by French historical author Marc Bloch for a book published in 1924. The royal touch was translated by J.E. Anderson for an English language edition published in 1961. Bloch's introduction reminds what often happens to data that seems mysterious to historians. Bloch wrote, quote, these facts, or at least a general outline of them, are well known to all who have studied or who are interested in such matters. Yet it must be admitted that they are peculiarly repugnant to the modern mind, since they are usually passed over in silence. Historians have written massive tomes on the idea of royalty without ever mentioning them. End quote. In the 20th century, Edgar Cayce became a famous mystic, known as the sleeping prophet, by entering into a trance state and becoming a channel for a seemingly limitless succession of spirits demonstrating their union with an all-knowing, intermediary, organizing superconsciousness. They would speak in plurality, usually ending sessions with a comment such as, we are through for the present. The phenomena manifesting are comparable to talking poltergeist cases, yet, instead of disembodied voices, the entities communicated through Cayce. One of the interesting books about him that I've read is Edgar Cayce on ESP by Doris Agee, who reported, quote, it has been estimated that during his lifetime, Edgar Cayce spoke in some 24 different languages while giving readings, although he had conscious knowledge only of English, end quote. Cayce never completed an autobiography during his lifetime, but A. Robert Smith compiled the 1997 book My Life as a Seer, The Lost Memoirs, from an unfinished 1932 memoir by Cayce and other occasional writings. The book includes remembrances of childhood anecdotes that seem especially noteworthy. Around the age of 9, Cayce would see his late grandpa and play with children in the barn, although there were no children residing in the area. An account was related of his first vision in 1890, quote, kneeling by the bed that night, I prayed again that God would show me that he loved me. He would give me the ability to do something for my fellow man, which would show to them his love, even as the actions of his little creatures in the woods showed me their trust in one who loved them. I was not yet asleep when the vision first began, but I felt as if I were being lifted up. A glorious light, as of the rising morning sun, seemed to fill the whole room, and a figure appeared at the foot of my bed. I was sure it was my mother, and I called to her, but she didn't answer. For the moment I was frightened, climbed out of bed, and went to my mother's room. No, she hadn't called. Almost immediately after I returned to my couch, the figure came again. Then it seemed all gloriously bright, an angel, or what, I knew not. But gently, patiently, it said, thy prayers are heard. You will have your wish. Remain faithful. Be true to yourself. Help the sick, the afflicted, end quote. In one of the numerous channeled reading transcripts, one of the people present asked what was the voice that spoke, and the response is quoted, that of the superconsciousness of the body, end quote. In another channeled reading transcript, the responding entity refers to, quote, I, Michael, the Lord of the Way, end quote.